All right, appreciate everybody's patience. Different than what we thought it might look like. On the same note, got to give a lot of credit to Idaho. They played a really a good game. They didn't give us anything for free. A lot of learning moments for us. Excited to watch the film and get back to work because there's certainly some things that we can clean up. Great teams are able to learn from tight matches. This was a tight match. And we didn't create some of the explosive plays I was hoping that we could create offensively. Gave up a couple critical plays on defense. So certainly some things for us to attack, but a lot of credit to Coach Eck and his guys. They came out and played a good game.
In the back, Aaron.
What was just it about Idaho's both offense and defense that just made them hard to kind of adjust to during the game today?
I'll have to go back and watch the film exactly. I thought they did a good job of stopping our interior run game, and we struggled at times to get the ball in the perimeter and be able to move it down the field. I think they did a really good job of staying on top, defensively as well to stop us from creating, explosive plays down the field. And then they did a good job generating some pressure, so we have to evaluate, some of those looks.
On the right, Zach, front row.
Frustrations offensively. What can you say about defensively? I mean, you held them to under 50 yards rushing, 2 for 12 on third down. What do you think your defense did tonight?
I think there's some really good positives, but I think there's also some growth moments there. We were poor against the screen at times. Some of our situational play where we knew tricks would come up, they did, and didn't execute, properly in those situations. So we're going to look at it to figure out what can we improve, how can we learn. I think great teams do that.
Front left, James.
When the offensive line has been such a strength the last 2 seasons, Dan, 3 sacks allowed, sacked fumble was in there. What was your thoughts, particularly on the right side of the offensive line today in terms of execution?
Yeah, I wouldn't pick a side in general, other than there's certainly some truth to that. We have to go back and evaluate the film and evaluate how we can improve and get better there. I think an early sack there was when we actually gave Chip protection on the edge and knocked him into an available gap to where he was able to create pressure. But that's something that we can attack and improve for sure.
Second row left, Eric.
Kind of mentioned difficulty getting the ball downfield through the pass. Was that just what they were doing schematically in terms of taking things away, or did you think there were more opportunities maybe to hit some of those?
We'll have to go back and watch the film. I mean, we did throw for 380 yards, so there was still some passing game. And sometimes you have to take what they give you, but we have to be a team that can create some explosive plays, and we didn't generate enough of those today.
Back left, cameras. Brett.
Coach, Gabriel, I think 49 attempts for the game, a lot of passes through the air. Was that kind of the game plan going in, or was that something that you guys kind of adjusted to since the run game just was having a hard time getting going?
Probably a combination of both. We had to be a team that can run and pass the ball. We weren't running the ball effectively, so we had to pass the ball to get first downs.
Second row, you're on the left. Ryan.
Dan, just your thoughts on Tez's reliability tonight and the chemistry he's been showing with Dylan, in the fall.
Yeah, I'm looking. I think there were some moments that were really strong, and then there's some moments that in every facet can improve. So, watching the film, I think will give some great indications of where we can get better.
On the right, break.
Coach, you mentioned the hope for explosive plays moving forward. With a quarterback that can run like Dylan can, how do you plan on incorporating that kind of as the season goes on?
I think you have to evaluate every single team you're playing and how they defend you and see if that can be an element or a piece of your game. That's certainly something that we have. I don't know that it's always wise to run your quarterback every opportunity you get to.
Stand on the right, out.
What did you make of Brandon Johnson's game today in his debut? He had the juggling interceptions, but also was in on a couple TFLs and making plays.
Yeah, I thought, he showed up in big moments. It's great to be able to see him, kind of get a feel for things. The pick in the end zone was a really, really big play, obviously, for us. And I'm excited about the player that Brandon is. Just what we thought we were getting when we brought him in. I think some of that showed up today.
Right here in the middle, Andy.
Can you assess Dylan's debut just kind of in an overall sense?
Yeah, I think ultimately Dylan operated, within the offense well. Thought he understood what we were trying to accomplish. Made some good decisions. I think we got to try to figure out how to eliminate some of the pressures that showed up and some of the sacks that showed up. But I have to go to the film and watch that. That doesn't necessarily mean it was the quarterback. Doesn't necessarily mean it was the O-line. We got to go evaluate it.
Back in the back row.
The productivity you got out of your tight end group today, was that sort of by design, or was that just sort of you taking what the defense was giving you guys?
We got a really good tight end group, and ones that we certainly want to be able to get the ball, right? And that being said, it's the combination of both, but knowing that you have weapons there is something we need to be able to utilize.
Front left, James.
Defensive personnel-wise, didn't see Jeff very much in the second half, if at all. Was he banged up, and was Taishim missing in the first half due to a discipline issue or something? Or?
Yeah, I think both those guys can go, and probably Jeffrey is a little bit of a decision on do we need Jeff to go right now. But yeah, both those guys will be able to go for us in the future.
Front right, Zach.
Saw Dylan hit his hand in the first half. Seemed to be flexing it a little bit. You know, he's okay as far as you know.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't been able to get a medical report yet, but I think he's in good shape.
In the back left, Brett.
Coach, I'm just wondering, what did you tell the team in the locker room after the win?
Well, that's for the team. That's for the team in the locker room. If we wanted you guys there, we would have everybody else in there.
Front left, Eric.
How about just what the mood is generally amongst those guys?
There's areas for improvement for us right now. You know, you celebrate wins in our program when that happens, but there's some areas for improvement.
In the back, Matt.
Eric asked that question. I'm good.
I'm sorry. Okay, in the back here.
Coach, when you look at the stat sheet, it indicates you guys fairly dominated the game, but the scoreboard said otherwise. Do you sort of just chalk that up to untimely change of possessions, or do you think the final score thoroughly indicates how evenly matched up the game ended up being?
We don't live in hypotheticals. That's the score of the game, right? That's the reality. There's things that we did to put ourselves in situations where we didn't get to finish drives, and that's the reality. They stopped us on fourth down at times. When we went for it, they did a great job stopping a punt fake. So there were some opportunities out there that we didn't take advantage of that they did, but the score is what the score was.
Front right, Zach.
A lot of teams would leave week one with a double-digit victory and almost 500 yards offense, feeling really good about yourself. You're talking about how much you have to clean up still. What does that say about this team and the expectations you have for yourself this year?
Well, we have high expectations for ourselves for sure, but every single game, we're finding things that we can go clean up.
Back middle, Aaron.
When you play a team that maybe runs as many trick plays as Idaho, and you're playing them in the first game of the season when you don't really have any other film to rely on other than their spring game, was that hard to prepare for? Did you know that they were going to, run that many trick plays? And how did you feel like the team kind of adjusted to them throughout the game? And how prepared were you after they were played?
Yeah, I think that's part of Coach X's identity. I think they've done a really good job of taking advantage of it, but we were aware of it. We had some things alert for it, and we just didn't take advantage of those.
Front left, James.
We obviously talked for a lot the last couple of weeks about Charlie starting at center and execution there, snaps and the like. How did you feel he did, and whatever issues there may have been up front, what was attributable to either calls versus just pressures that popped accordingly?
Yeah, all that I'll probably have to watch the film to get a great assessment of. I wasn't able to do that during the game.
Back left, Brett.
Coach, we kind of saw the birth of Mateo last season and the impact he can have. Obviously, today a really big start. I believe 2 sacks in this one. Just what's it been like watching him grow, and how much better do you think he can get throughout the season with the performance that he had today?
Yeah, proud of his growth. I think that edge room in general has some really talented players that have done a really good job attacking things. But proud of where Mateo's at, and continuing to see him continue to grow will be great for us in the future.
Back right, Ronald.
Usually, a lot of times, you walk away from a game like this and you're happy that you were challenged early on because that, pays off down the line. But with a game like this and the expectation you guys have for yourself this season, do you feel like this is sort of that game where you're proud you guys got challenged, or is there a little bit of disappointment there?
I think every single game we look for an opportunity to grow, right? And we certainly walked away from this game with opportunities to grow. Always going to be, like I said, celebrate a victory, but there's some opportunities for us to get better for sure.
Back left, Matt.
What do you make of just Betcher's play with Boston not being able to play most of the second half and just the impact he had?
Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch the film. I know Bryce flies around. I know it means a lot to him and he cares. I think that's always going to show up for Bryce.
Back right, Ronald.
This being Noah's first game back, what did you see from his play, and how, just as a coach to see him out there, what was it like for you?
I'm excited for him to get out there and play football again. I know how much the game means to him, how much he loves it. So definitely excited to see him get out there and get in the thick of things.
Back middle, behind the camera.
Based on what you saw from Dylan Gabriel home debut today, what are some good things you think he can bring to the table for the rest of the season?
Well, I think he's a really intelligent player. I think he brings great leadership, calm and poised, in situations. I think we saw a lot of that today. So looking for some opportunities to build off that and grow.
That's all we have for you, Coach.
All right. Thank you, guys.